Welcome to the Deep Dive. So, if you're an author, maybe thinking about Amazon KDP or already there, well, you're in the right spot.
Definitely.
You're probably looking to turn that writing passion into something successful, right? But you want the info, like, quickly, without getting totally bogged down.
Yeah, you want those aha moments, that clear understanding.
Exactly. So we've pulled together a ton of information guides on finding your niche, actually writing the thing, getting reviews, which is huge, and running Amazon ads effectively.
It covers a lot of ground, from the creative side to the business side.
Right. Our mission today is pretty simple. Give you those crucial insights, help you navigate KDP, find your niche, get reviews, market smart, basically help you succeed.
And it's really interesting how all these pieces, they have to fit together. Writing a great book, that's step one, obviously. But understanding the Amazon marketplace, how readers find you.
Super important.
And why they pick your book over others, just as vital. The material we looked at gives a really complete picture of that whole journey.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Starting with something really practical, niche research. Understanding your book's potential before you pour everything into it. Our sources really hammer home the importance of looking at what's already working on Amazon. It's less about guessing, more about observing.
Exactly. You don't have to reinvent the wheel entirely. A key thing is analyzing those top search results, say, the first 5 or maybe 10 books for your main keywords.
Okay.
Think of it like checking out the leaders in your race. What are they doing? But first, and this is crucial, you got to skip the sponsored ads. See those little sponsor tags? Ignore them for this part.
Right, yeah. We want the ones that got there organically.
Precisely. We're interested in what's succeeding naturally.
Okay, so once you've filtered out the ads, what are we looking for in those top organic books?
Well, you want to grab some key details. Things like the cover, maybe it's just the image URL, the price they're selling at, the BSR.
BSR, okay, we'll circle back to what that means.
Yeah, bestseller rank. Also, the number of reviews they have and, the average star rating.
Got it. So, cover, price, BSR, review count, rating.
Exactly. And collecting this data, it gives you a snapshot. What's the typical price range? How many reviews do the top books usually have? What ratings are common? It gives you benchmarks.
Okay, that makes sense. It gives you a feel for the landscape.
And there are even, technical ways to scrape this info if you're doing it a lot. Using tools, mimicking browsers, maybe even APIs. But the why is the main thing right now, understanding what the winners are doing.
Right. So that BSR bestseller rank, you said lower is generally better.
Yeah, think of it as Amazon's little score for how well a book is selling in its category compared to others. Lower number, more sales, generally speaking.
Okay. And looking at the pricing of those top books,
Yeah.
what can that tell us?
Oh, a lot. Are they all clustered around, say, $9.99, or is there a wider spread? And if you see some priced higher, you start asking why.
Like, maybe they have way more content, or the author's well-known.
Exactly. Or maybe the cover design is just phenomenal. It helps you position your own book. Can you compete on price? Or do you need to justify a higher price with, extra value, better quality, something unique?
Strategic thinking right from the start.
Precisely. And, to make sense of all this data, you can even build simple dashboards. Tools like Streamlit are pretty quick for this.
Visualizing it helps, I bet.
Totally. Imagine charts showing price versus rating. Do better rated books cost more? Or BSR versus rank position, how quickly does a man drop off after the top few spots? Plotly's good for charts. You can even add download buttons for the data.
So you can play with it in Excel or something later.
Exactly. But the end goal isn't just to copycat. It's about understanding the competitive field so you can make smart choices about your book's price, quality, cover, and what makes it special. Validating that niche.
Okay, solid advice on the research front. So let's say you've got a handle on your niche. Now comes the big part, actually writing the book.
Yes, the writing itself.
The sources we looked at had some really insightful perspectives here. It's way more than just stringing words together.
Absolutely. One way to frame it is writing as communication. You're basically transferring your thoughts, your story, your ideas directly into the reader's mind.
Like bypassing speech and gestures and going straight to words.
Kind of, yeah. Fiction is telling a story. Nonfiction is communicating facts, opinions, observations, clearly. And a core idea. You got to be a reader first. You learn so much about engaging readers by, being one.
That rings true. You absorb it by osmosis almost. And structure matters too, right?
Right.
The sources mention paragraphs.
Paragraphs are like organizing your thoughts for maximum impact.
Okay,
Think of them as building blocks. You group related ideas together to build your case or paint your picture clearly.
Makes sense. And there are different ways to write, different styles.
Definitely. You've got descriptive writing, painting pictures with words, focusing on sensory details. Then expository writing, which is about explaining things using facts, examples, maybe stats or charts. Think textbooks or manuals. And then argumentative writing, where you're really pushing a specific point of view, trying to persuade the reader.
And what about point of view? Like first person, third person?
Right, who's telling the story. First person is I, second person is you, less common in novels, and third person is he shite.
Third person seems pretty common.
It is, especially third person omniscient, where the narrator knows everything about everyone. It's often seen as less distracting for the reader. Even tense past tense versus present tense affects the feel. Present tense can make things feel immediate, but sometimes makes sentences longer.
Wow, lots of choices that seem small but add up.
They really do. They shape how the reader connects with the text. But, the sources also stress something important about the process.
Which is?
Just start writing. Don't get paralyzed by trying to make the first draft perfect. Get the ideas down. The critical eye comes later during editing. That's when you refine, improve, shape it.
I like that. Permission to write a messy first draft.
Exactly. Believe you can write a book. Focus on connecting with your readers. Finding your own unique voice. Crisp, formal, funny, whatever fits you and your story.
And bringing descriptions alive means focusing on people, right? Emotions.
Yes. A description of a place is okay, but add people, their feelings, their interactions. That's where stories happen. Inspiration is everywhere, observing people, history, your own life. What makes someone tick? What are their hidden depths?
Finding the story in the everyday. Even, like the source mentioned, a simple note left by a mother.
Yeah, communication insights are everywhere. For fiction, it's about crafting that plot, maybe inspired by real life, maybe pure imagination, but making it engaging. Mystery, twists, a powerful message. A good story usually has structure, heart, and maybe a surprise.
And nonfiction is more like a tutorial.
Often, yeah. Clearly explaining the why and the what. Why should the reader care, and what do they need to know?
Practical stuff, too, like book length.
Knowing typical word counts for short stories versus novellas versus full novels can be handy. But here's a really cool tip from the sources.
Ooh.
Try writing the blurb, the back cover description or the online summary before you write the book.
Really? Why?
It forces you to nail down the core promise, the central idea. Helps keep you focused during the actual writing. Same with getting a working title early on, gives you a banner to write under.
That's clever. Start with the pitch, almost. What about organizing ideas?
Using a book board, could be physical corkboard or digital, to map out plot points or nonfiction sections, move things around, see how the flow works best.
Visualizing the structure.
Exactly. And remember, that first draft, the rough draft, it's just the foundation. The real magic often happens in revision. Multiple rounds of editing are key.
Looking at it with fresh eyes.
Definitely. Maybe even print it out, read it aloud. Focus on sentence flow, word choice, clarity. And don't forget the little things, a dedication, maybe an epigraph, a relevant quote at the start.
Adds a nice touch.
Yeah.
What about writing about real people? Ethics.
Crucial point. If you're drawing from real life, especially involving others, you have to be careful. Change names, maybe composite characters, keep sources anonymous if needed, respect privacy, and always include a disclaimer.
Good advice. Protect yourself and others.
Yeah. And remember, inspiration can come from anywhere. Finding adventure in the mundane, exploring unique concepts, it's all valid material.
It also mentioned different writer types, systematic versus needing big chunks of time.
Yeah, people work differently. Some outline meticulously, write chapter by chapter. Others need long, uninterrupted stretches to just dive in. Find what works for you. Create your writer's cave, your ritual.
And writer's block.
Often just your brain saying it needs a break. Step away, rest, move your body. It'll come back. Don't force it.
Finding the time is always a challenge, too.
It is. It often comes down to scheduling it, maybe delegating other tasks if possible. And importantly, take care of yourself. Ergonomics, eye breaks, hydration, sleep. Burnout is real, especially if you're juggling writing with other things.
Sounds like a marathon, not a sprint.
It really is. The journey to self-publishing especially involves persistence. Facing rejection, maybe judgment, but it's about self-reliance, getting your voice out there.
And then there's the actual publishing process itself. Editing, cover design.
Formatting, ISBNs, distribution, copyright, marketing. Yeah, it's a lot. Understanding these steps, whether you go traditional or self-publish, is key. As a self-published author, the marketing really falls on you.
So knowing your genre's pricing, your target audience, how to promote online and offline.
Book launches, readings, giveaways, all part of the puzzle. It's challenging, no doubt, but incredibly rewarding when you hold that finished book and connect with readers.
Okay, so the book is written, published. Now, about those reviews. They seem critical on Amazon.
Oh, absolutely critical. Our sources boil it down to three simple truths, really. One, reviews build trust and social proof. People look at them.
Makes sense. I know I do.
Two, they are essential if you plan to run ads. Ads convert much better if the book has some decent reviews.
Ah, okay. Good point.
And three, generally, more reviews lead to more sales. Assuming the book itself is good, of course, reviews signal to Amazon and to readers that people are engaging with your book.
But getting them feels hard.
It can seem daunting, but the sources suggest it's often easier than authors think. There are strategies.
Like what? What works?
Well, simple personal outreach to people you know who've read it. Putting a clear, polite call to action inside the book itself. If you enjoyed this book, please consider leaving a review.
Okay, that's straightforward.
And then there are review platforms.
Yeah.
Places like Book Bounty, Pubbie, Gemzy. These are designed to connect authors with readers who are willing to leave honest reviews, often in exchange for a free copy or points on the platform.
Ah, platform specifically for this.
Yeah. The goal is to aim for a steady trickle, maybe 5-10 reviews a week early on, through consistent effort. Book Bounty often gets mentioned as effective, focused on that honest exchange. Pubbie and Gemzy can sometimes help accelerate things.
But you have to be careful about Amazon's rules, right?
Yeah. Absolutely crucial. No incentivizing positive reviews. It has to be an honest, unbiased exchange. The platforms generally understand this. You want authentic reviews, even if a few aren't 5 stars. That looks more real anyway.
Okay, honest exchange. Got it.
Yeah.
Is there a best time to focus on getting reviews?
Definitely around the launch. Send out advanced reader copies, ARCs, before or during launch week. Then maybe ramp up platform use in weeks 2 and 3. The goal is maybe hitting 50 or so reviews by the end of the first month if you can.
Having a plan helps.
For sure. And simple follow-up matters. Thanking reviewers maybe individually for ARCs or a general thank you in your acknowledgments or newsletter.
Makes sense. What about AI helping with reviews?
Interesting point some sources brought up. Not writing fake reviews, obviously, but maybe using AI like ChatGPT to help brainstorm points about your book that a real reviewer might mention, or helping draft outreach messages. Always rewrite in your own voice, keep it authentic, and stay within guidelines.
An interesting angle.
Okay.
And leaving reviews via the Kindle app.
It's a theory mentioned, but the idea is that reviews left directly through Kindle might feed cleaner data into Amazon's system. Who knows for sure, but maybe worth encouraging.
So it's about a balanced, consistent effort to build that social proof.
Exactly. It's part of the launch momentum.
Which leads nicely into advertising. Once you have some reviews, ads can really amplify things.
Yes, definitely. Our sources really stress how important consistent sales are, especially in the first month or so. It signals demand to Amazon.
So ads help generate those early sales.
They can, yeah. Which is why having some ad budget planned from the start is a good idea. And those review platforms, sometimes getting those initial downloads through them can help kickstart things alongside your ads. Aiming for, say, 40+ reviews quickly can really help ad performance.
Okay, so for the ads themselves, Amazon ads, what's the basic strategy?
Often, it's starting with your best performing keywords, the ones most relevant to your book, and maybe targeting competitor books directly. Then, gradually, carefully raise the daily budget on campaigns that are working well.
And if a book just isn't responding to ads?
That's a tough one, but the advice is often, don't get too hung up on it. Analyze why it might not be working. Cover, description, niche competitiveness, learn from it, and, maybe shift your focus and budget to your next book.
Don't throw good money after bad, essentially.
Right. But then there's this interesting little tactic some sources call lottery ads.
Lottery ads? What are those?
It's basically setting up one single ad campaign that includes all your books, even older ones. You set the bid super, super low, like pennies, and just let it run in the background with a tiny daily budget, maybe a couple of bucks.
And the point is?
The idea is it might occasionally snag a cheap click and a sale for a book that wasn't getting any attention otherwise, like winning a tiny lottery. Doesn't cost much, runs passively alongside your main campaigns.
Huh. Interesting. Low risk, Potential small reward.
Exactly. But look, ad strategies can get complex. Many authors share detailed walkthroughs, so context matters. The key is always tracking your results. What's working, what's not.
Tracking seems vital. What are people tracking?
Well, review counts, obviously, sales, and then ad spend versus royalties. There are tools mentioned like Publisher Champ that help track this. Some even have fun things like a cha-ching sound when you make a